I just want to say good evening. This is Vitiligo Rocks Radio with your girl, Mega Mogul, your host for tonight. And we have Sharon King. She is the community activist and vitiligo advocate. She runs the Liddy Ligo page. I did get this right, Lydia, because I definitely tried to pin this on you. But she is actually the organizer and the administrator for such an amazing group, community group. It's called Liddy Ligo. You can definitely catch it on Instagram and Facebook. She does an amazing job at connecting people within the vitiligo community. So I just want to welcome you tonight. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
You are doing such an amazing job, and kudos to you. I bend my knee to you, and whoever helps you and assists you with the work that you do, kudos to them. God bless you guys.
My team, they are
and so I wanted to interview as many people as possible just so that we can have great conversations. These conversations are so paramount and so essential and so influential and so amazing. My last interview with everybody has just been so amazing, not only for my own freaking mental health, but I'm sure for others as well. And I'm hoping that people that come across our page are being positively impacted. So I just want to say thank you for accepting.
Of course, like
coming on here tonight.
Like your platform, it's wonderful and it's necessary, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and then I want you to dive right in. Like, don't hold back. Like, give it to us. Give it to us raw. Like,
okay. So
keep it a stack.
I'm Sharon King. I am 33 years old. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And Liddy Ligo, I made notes. I'm a notes person.
Okay.
Liddy Ligo is an outreach and advocacy network. We are a nonprofit organization.
Nice.
We are sponsored by a local nonprofit here that is called One Love Her, and they focus on young girls, but mostly people in our community, low income and things like that, creating enrichment programs and things like that. So I'm actually I'm a basketball referee, and that's how we met. I ended up staying one of her refs, and so we created a relationship and things like that. So I'm on her board now, and in return for what I do for her, she is my fiscal sponsor. So I'm able to be a nonprofit, which is amazing. And so I founded Liddy Ligo in 2017.
Okay.
So I turned 30. It was a little bit before I turned 30, and my vitiligo was pretty much non-existent. But then it started to spread again a little, like right here. And for the first time, I've had vitiligo since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
For the first time in 18 years, I was not bothered at all. I wasn't anxious about what it's going to look like. Do I have to change certain things about it? For the first time, I was not anxious at all. And I said, wow, this feels really good. I want to share this feeling with as many people as I can. And I was thinking, I'm like, what do I do? And I put up a post on my Instagram. I'm like asking my friends, like, should I do like a blog or something? And they were like, hell yeah. I'm like, really? Like I used to never talk about my skin ever.
Okay.
It was just there. And everybody, people would ask me questions, and I would get a little nervous. But with time, I learned how to ask questions and how to accept questions and not be so bothered by stares, and especially kids. Kids took me a long time to get over. Kids are just curious. That's what they do. Most of the time they're not trying to be disrespectful. They're naturally curious creatures.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you teach, and most of honestly, I've probably had one time where I reached out to a kid, taught him, gave him a wristband, and they were just like, no thanks. And it was still like, hey, at least you're educated. So
right.
So, so I was pondering on it. I'm like, what should I do it? Should I do it? And then there's this wonderful young lady. Her name was Lanisha.
Okay.
And I met her mom at a cookout. She wasn't there. And she was like, my daughter has vitiligo. You remind me a lot of her because, I have a very big personality. If I'm where I'm there. So she's like, you remind me so much of my daughter. And she, showed me pictures. It's like, wow, she's beautiful. And I was just just starting out. I don't even think Liddy Ligo had a name. I think it was just a group.
Okay.
And, so we lost contact. And then the very next week I was on the train, and an older woman was like, oh my goodness, you remind me so much of my granddaughter. Pulls out a picture. It's Lena.
Shut up.
I was like, okay, I gotta do this. I have to do this. This is big. So it started out with a Facebook group. And then a friend of mine was like, why don't you make an Instagram? I'm like, okay. And, you know, I started talking to people that have vitiligo and seeing beautiful images and learning so much because, you know, I was somebody who just kind of dealt with it. And I kind of felt like probably other people do that too. And then I started going in the different groups and seeing things. I'm like, wow, people are really struggling, you know? And I'm like, you know what, I want people to feel the way I feel. How can I do that? So, you know, I took it step by step. Started with the Instagram. Then once the Instagram I'm like, okay. Then we did the website. Then, you know, it just, everything kind of expanded. Then we started doing like t-shirts and things like that. Everything just kind of, you know, and then De'Ara reached out. De'Ara, shout out to De'Ara, that's my boo. Okay. She started the Mask Off fashion show. That's her baby. Like, she created that. Okay. On my picture, I was in this photo exhibit, and she saw my picture, read my story, reached out to me on Facebook, like, hey, I'm doing the show. Would you come down? I was like, sure. She was like, really? I'm like, yeah. You told me everything. You showed me what you're doing. I love it. I think it's great. If I can help. So, you know, I made some t-shirts for the kids with their names on it. It said, I'm strong. I think it said, I'm strong. I'm a warrior. I'm lit. Took pictures. Like, it was beautiful. And it was funny because at the end of it, she was so stressed out. She's like, I'm never doing this again. I said, oh, okay. So I got on mic to end the show. I'm like, all right, everybody, stay tuned for our second annual Mask Off. And she looked at me like,
I bet you crazy.
She was like, why would you do that? And I said, listen, give it a couple days. I promise you're going to call me and say, you're right. I have to do this again. Couple days passed and she was like, all right. I said, I bet. Like, once you start doing it, you cannot stop. Once you start advocating, once you see how much you're touching people, you know, appropriately. Once you see, you know, that you're helping people, you're genuinely making it, you cannot stop. So, you know, then I started doing like events, the speakeasy event, and that went really well. The first one that we did was how Michael Jackson shaped the way the world views vitiligo, because he had a very public case, and the way he handled it had a very big ripple effect. So I found myself, you got Michael Jackson disease? Are you okay? It sucks. Michael Jackson sucks. And I'm sitting there thinking I got to feel badly about myself. In retrospect, if Michael Jackson got the mental health that he needed, if he had the supports that he needed, he was able to deal with it in a way that
But guess what? There are still millions of Americans who do not believe that this man had vitiligo. And like, how can you bleach your skin to this, you know, not, I mean, everybody who's on here gets it, but like, you can never bleach your skin that white. No pigment whatsoever.
It's not possible.
You can't be in the sun. You have to wear gloves. You got to wear an umbrella. You know what I mean?
Right. And I was people when I was younger, like, because I was just so frustrated. I'm like, he's just using us, and, you know, and then I educated myself. I did my research. I actually read Dr. John Harris's paper, and I was like, that's what happened. That makes sense. I was wrong. So it was pure frustration, you know, but the good thing about it, so like you said, a lot of people didn't know that. So when we revealed that he had the only FDA approved treatment, which is to destroy all of your pigment, everybody, literally the audience kind of gasped. They were like, we really thought he bleached. I said, no, that man was dealing with things. Like, vitiligo traumatizes your system. It can come anytime. Like, you know, I have so many stories, literally a big thing, boom. Like, you know, and it just alters everything. And it's really, it's so hard to navigate. Like, and it's funny, my dad, I'm half Panamanian, and it's really prevalent on my dad's side, but they just don't acknowledge it at all. So when I got it, everybody's like, you fine, mommy, you fine.
We are non-famous people, right? So we all have our prospective platforms and our prospective audiences and those who we influence and directly impact. But we're talking about the king of pop, right? At the age of whatever. And who knows when he actually experienced it for the first time. And obviously we know he had the best doctors and the best medical team and all of that. And we know that across the United States, there were very few people who would be able to identify with what it is that you're experiencing. I don't care, you know, at what level status you are. There were very few doctors. and healthcare teams that could be able to look at you and say, oh, this is what this is.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that at whatever point in time that he experienced that, I'm pretty sure he traveled or went from doctor to doctor to identify what he was experiencing, not mentally, not psychologically, but just in terms of healthcare. And you are Michael Jackson, Jackson 5. You are the only one in your family, the only one among your siblings, on top of all of the other pressures in his career as a youth, having to maintain a certain image. And knowing what we know, just as regular people going through this condition and how it affects us psychologically on a day-to-day.
Right.
From family to being mothers and fathers and spouses and dating and career and professionally. And just imagining having to hear or know or understand on a basic level of the transformation that you might go through, and not knowing how your audience, the world, not just your perspective audience, not just your immediate group of people that you
like
interact
you're a global
with,
superstar.
Global.
Okay.
on the world, the planet, right? You are affecting people across the planet in every country. In every country, people know your name. To now having to identify with or not this condition that there's really not a lot of information about. There's not enough research. I mean, we all know, if you've done enough, you know that probably one of the very few centers to be treated was in DC. Very few. And if you aren't from the United States, where do you go?
Right.
So I'm 41. Michael Jackson.
41 where?
I'll be 41 in 23 days. Yeah.
That's
so
correct. Okay.
Right? So I can only imagine if he was still alive, he would probably be 60, maybe 60 something. Because he died, he was in his 50s, right?
Yep. And it's been about a decade. Yeah.
About a decade. So 60. So my mother had it. Okay. And I can remember as a teenager, her going to DC to get these light treatments, which we knew was radiation. And she just made a decision not to continue with it. My mother's 30 years older than me. So I'm a teenager. I'm young, 12, 13, 14, maybe. Not knowing that obviously this is what Michael Jackson was experiencing. He was covered from head to toe. He wore the socks, the white socks. That was not necessarily a fashion statement, but he made it one.
Absolutely. It was
the gloves.
To this day.
Where we're not a fashion statement, but he made it one. The hair, right? We knew that Michael Jackson, so we all knew about the fire, his hair caught on fire. So now we're dealing with weaves. Now we're dealing with this fake hair situation going on. It's always the same color. You know what I mean? We know that vitiligo does express itself through stress.
Like I just wish he had the tools to handle it better. That's all.
I know. So basically what I'm saying is now we're dealing with the psychological part of this, of not finding a mate, feeling ostracized, not being accepted, not finding your tribe, all the psychological parts that go with this as just regular people. And we're loved. We got families. You got a kid. I got a kid. We were able to procreate, no problem.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So
live, and, when it comes to, treatment, I feel like we've all tried it. Somebody, maybe you choose not to. like you had it, your mother had the experience, and that, you know, she had that experience and made that your choice. I was very lucky. When I was sitting in the dermatology, we did the creams didn't work. They suggested light treatment. And I was like, so is it going to work? They're like, maybe. I said, so what are the side effects? At the time, I think he was going to change the consistency of my skin, make me real dark. And I'm like, how many times would I have to come in here? And they're like, 3 times a week. I said, I got basketball practice. I can't mess with y'all. And he tried to convince me, and my mother had to step in and say, my daughter said no, thank you.
Yeah.
You know? And that was my experience with the dermatologist. And it's like, everybody has like, so I work in disability. I'm a community outreach and advocacy specialist for a disability rights organization here in Boston. So our motto is everyone has the right to fail and everybody has the dignity of risk. You can't tell a disabled person, no, you can't. No, there is a way. You can find a way. You know, everybody has the right to try their ways. It doesn't make it wrong. It's not wrong to want to look like your old self. It's not wrong. But if you're hurting yourself, if it's at the expense of yourself, is that something you really want to be doing? Yeah. That's the only time when I'm like, hey, you sure you want to do that? Like, you know, I remember interacting with a young woman who was, you know, she was literally in pain from head to toe, like burned literally. And she wasn't really getting any results. And she was just like, I don't know if it's worth it. And I was having the conversation with her. And I said, you know, and then someone else came on the set and said, like, but she's suffering. We are suffering. And I'm like, but you don't have to. You have to. And the woman, she had a beautiful family. She had, you know, she was gainfully employed and things. And she was just like, but I'm just worried that my family has to deal with the stairs. And they have to, I was like, but they love you. They are dealing with the stairs. Don't they? And she was telling me, like, she eventually realized, like, they love you for who you are. And if there's somebody who's going to tell you, oh, you need to cover up, you don't need those people in your life. No, you do not need anyone who doesn't accept you for who you are. You don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So you told us, you shared with us that you started noticing the condition at 12. So you had the advocacy of your mother. Did she know what it was when you first?
Yeah, like it started out real small, but that's the thing. I didn't know. She knew at the time, but like I said, she never really made a big deal about it ever. As an adult, when I started, you know, doing advocacy, she revealed to me that my father has it, like on his butt. And then she's like, yeah, your sister. And then my aunt had it, and then my sister revealed to me that she had it really bad when she was 6, but they took her to Panama. She ate natural food, got in the water, and it stopped completely. My sister has like 2 spots that you can't, they're very small and you can't see them unless you're like really.
So do we need to like book our travel to Panama? Like,
you know, and it's like, you know,
like a group
they intervene in that, you know, like I went to the World Vitiligo Day conference and they were talking about research, and I guess there was a span, like when it first starts happening, there is a window where you know, if a treatment is going to work, it would be then and there. So I think it's kind of the same effect. It was just holistic for my sister.
Girl trip. Tip said girl trip.
Okay.
Girl trip.
A lot of people have that positive holistic experience. It doesn't work for everybody, but I have seen some really good results. So hey, like I said, dignity to risk, you know.
Let's go, Lady D32. She said she down. Let's go.
Okay. That's one of my advocates. Hey, girl. Okay. That's a Liddy like.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I was talking to Dr. Huggins about this. I would love for us all to just get in a room and talk to each other about what we want, you know?
Yeah.
That would be great. Like communication. I was a person that used to keep a lot of my feelings, a lot of my thoughts to myself. I would read the room and kind of keep my opinions to myself. But it got to a point where it just wasn't working for me. Yeah. And I had to start taking that risk and using my voice. And at first it was kind of small. I was like, okay, I'm advocating. Now you can't get listed. My friends were like, Sharon, shut up. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
So Lydia asked, if you have the opportunity, would you receive vitiligo treatment?
Me personally, no. I've been asked this question a lot. And for me, I found purpose in mine, you know? And honestly, I feel like I look like I used to have a big butterfly. This was weird to me. Like I have like virtually, you know, like Darren, we always laugh at. She was like, you about to get kicked out of the Vitiligo Club. And I'm like, word. Like when I did the Don't Rush Challenge, I purposely put my hand in it so you can see that I actually had it. Like I had to, because you can't see it on my face.
You can't sit with us no more, sis. You can't sit with us no more.
Right, like you much purpose.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I've touched I've reached so many people. I've met so many amazing human beings and souls.
That's good.
I've learned so much. I've grown so much. Like, Vitiligo is for everybody, because y'all don't know how much Vitiligo is for me. It's done so much for me as a person.
Yeah.
And honestly, when people started, you know, coming and being a part of, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I love this here. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank God for social media. Wow.
When I remember when I was trying to look up, it was vitiligo.com, and it was just like white, black, just messages, no pictures.
And it was all white people.
It was definitely all white people. The first person I saw was Barbara Hamilton. She's the treasurer of Vit Friends. And I was a teenager, and I was so shocked. And she gave me a card and everything. I told her, like, when I started coming back to the meetings, I told her, I was like, I was scared. I was just like, oh my God, somebody else with vitiligo. What's happening? And I like freaked out and like was like, okay, thank you, you know, because for me, I wasn't ready. I was nowhere near ready to talk about it, to acknowledge it, you know. So when when I started Vitiligo and, you know, we started, you know, I started coming to the meetings, we started collaborating, you know, it was, you know, Barbara, she said, you know, I remember you. I remember when I first met you at Washington Park. Basketball was life back then. So, you know, and she was like, yeah, I remember you were so vibrant and full of life. And I was like, yeah, and as vibrant and full of life as I was not whole. And I didn't realize it until I was literally 30 years old. You've avoided, like, I didn't deal with my vitiligo. I just avoided it. I just did not talk about it. It didn't exist. You know, my friends treated me, nobody, you know, my friends never really questioned me. And it was funny. I had a conversation with my brother like a year ago, and he's like, I knew what bothered you. Like, you were so confident in school. And I had a whole, and he was just like, I never knew you felt this way. I said, bro, I never knew I felt this way until I started this whole thing. It's free to really confront those feelings. I want everybody to feel it. I need everybody to feel this.
Oh, it's so tough to kind of put it into words, because I think that it's not like it wasn't ever a conversation for me. It was always a conversation, but it wasn't like a psychological one. It was just like, oh, you know, I know that I have it, and I know that people see it. But it wasn't really until now. I mean, I think we start. So let me give you a little bit of history with Vitiligo Rocks Radio. This really wasn't my idea. Let me just be very clear. So I was asked to be a radio show host for Vitiligo Rocks Radio. Now, let me say this. Vitiligo Rocks was my idea in terms of the name. But I was asked to be a host on a radio show. It was Blog Talk Radio. And the concept or the model of the show was very antiquated. So it was Blog Talk. And so my appeal to the producer was like, listen, we have vitiligo. And while I feel like conversation is great, people want to see you, and they want to engage with you, and they want to interact with you. And we're living in a different age and time where social media is highly prevalent, and that's how we communicate. That's how we get our news. That's how we're informed. That's how we engage. That's how we really, literally know what's going on, from Twitter to Facebook to Instagram to Snapchat. Like, if you're not on those 4 mediums, like, we really don't know what the hell is going on. Like, nobody really, people watch the news, but the news is so infiltrated with so much, you know, so much
agendas and everything else.
Right. So social media is like, oh, I saw such as a social media. Oh, I saw such as a, you know what I mean? That's just kind of what we rely upon. And I just felt like people could better appreciate this platform than Blog Talk Radio. And my producer at the time really wasn't with it. So I was like, yes, I'm gonna have to head out. And Mooney, who has been extremely influential in the vitiligo community through his work, decided to partner with me. So, you know, this is both of our efforts to do this, you know, but on a social media platform versus Blog Talk Radio. I never really considered myself influential because I just feel like I've had it for quite some time. And, you know, I was involved in a lot of different things, from modeling to acting and things like that. And I just was like, oh, okay, whatever. But it wasn't until now that I'm engaging with like Lydia and you and Curbs and, you know, different people from all over the world. It's really triggering me in a way that I didn't recognize before, even to just talking out things that I don't really get an opportunity to talk out things with my peers. You know, and my friends that I've had for my lifetime, like my lifetime friends. I don't have this opportunity to talk through it because they don't really get it or understand it or experience it or identify with it. And it's just like, oh, first of all, I don't see it anymore because I've known you my entire life.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Or it's like, oh, you have vitiligo, like get over it. And I'm like,
And it's like, I know what you guys are, I know what you think that you're doing. I
get
it, you know, but
yeah.
y'all not doing what y'all think y'all doing, you know.
I know. And you hate to be insensitive, like, yeah, like I'm not trying to be like a victim, or I'm not trying to be like, oh, I have vitiligo. Yeah. But it's like, let you have it and see what, like, let's see how you deal with it or handle it.
Like let me feel how I'd like to feel. Give me a chance to feel. Like if I feel like I'm a little nervous about going into the world, just let me be a little nervous. I thank you for the encouragement, but just let me be, let me process how these things are feeling so I can process how to get through them, you know? Because
so Ben Brown,
you know?
Ben Brown made a post yesterday, and it was so riveting to me. And I didn't comment because this is a grown ass man, right? Do you know Ben Brown? Have you met him before? Okay.
Yeah, he's one of my advocates.
Yeah. So he said he walked into a carryout, into a restaurant or something like that, and he was just like in the whole room, just turned around and stared.
I did, and I did comment on it, and I told him, I said, you gotta flip, listen, you gotta take that how you want it. Like me, I walk in the room, I'm like, oh y'all, what's up? How you doing? How your mama doing? You want a wristband? You gotta, for me, I gotta make it work.
You want a wristband?
That literally, I keep a wrist, I stay strapped with a wristband at all times. I'll be
want a
wristband? I'll be on the train, I'll see a little kid staring, I'll take my earphones out. You wanna have a conversation, don't you? You wanna know what's going on here, don't you? You know, and I'll educate them. And then I'll give them a wristband. I said, boom, you're an ally now. They be like, for real? I'm like, yeah, you down. And they'll see me and they'll be like,
I love it.
I'm like, yeah, that's right. Like that's my thing now. Like I love that.
Let me tell you something. No, that's lit. That's lit. But see, here's the disadvantage. You had it at 12, right?
Right. It's different. I grew through mine. 100%.
I've seen my mother grow through it, right? Yep. This man was a grown ass man.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Right.
And experiencing it. So I get that. I don't know how I would feel at 30 when I'm fly as shit. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm used to feeling a certain way about myself. And then 30, boom. And I'm like, damn, I got to refigure out who I am, how I'm presenting myself, how I'm received, what am I doing, what do people think, you know, how do I respond? So I get that, and that really touched me because I get it. Right. And I do have the same level of confidence that you have, but it still never really goes away in terms of that moment when you realize that everybody in this room is like, you don't know what they're thinking. Right. You don't know.
So for me, it's become that kind of and then you go into it moment.
Yeah,
like that,
right.
That little never goes away.
No, it doesn't.
Hide it very well. But don't get me wrong. I have literally sat on the train and watched somebody go.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
right.
Hey, would you like to have a conversation? My name is Sharon. Like, you know, sometimes it's exasperating. But like with the kids, I genuinely love it now.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, and I do silly things like wink I'll be like, you know, or something like that, or like,
I
you know,
love interacting with the kids.
yeah,
But
no problem.
the
Yeah, the
adults,
kids
I'm
aren't the
not gonna lie.
problem.
Sometimes
Right.
I'm like one day
Yeah.
I was on the train. I sit down. This lady scoots over because I sat down. I was like, oh, we want to be embarrassed. And I said, oh, is there something wrong? She want to act all embarrassed. Oh, but you wanted to do the most though. But you just, but you just wanted to do the most. Don't do the most. What are you doing?
I can't with you.
You think you're gonna embarrass me? Listen, we're gonna be embarrassed together. Then I guess that's ignorant. You had no reason to do that at all.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No, but I love your boldness. I just simply, I know I shouldn't cuss, but I simply just don't care. Like, I really wanted to say something else, but
I
I'm
know
gonna be
what you want to
respectful.
say.
I simply don't care. Like, I'll ignore you. You know what I'm saying? And I just will. But so here's the thing though. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day. Actually, I'm lying. I was talking to a gentleman today. He's a neighbor. He just moved out, and we were talking. He was being very flirty. This was his way of flirting. So he says to me, he said, well, what kind of guys do you like? And I said, you know, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. I said, I've come to the realization that the type of guys that I need to date from this moment on are men who are extremely confident. I said, because what you don't know, you can't compare me to any other female that you've ever dated in your life.
Ever.
People come up to me and want autographs. They want to have conversations. They want to take pictures. They stare. They gawk. They smile. I mean, they smile and they compliment. Oh, out of no, I mean, it can be very exhausting. And if you're not
built
comfortable
for it,
with you first, you cannot date me.
Right.
Period.
Right.
I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how much you think you might want me. You are not ready for this life, my friend.
Man, my guy.
My guy. You know what I'm saying? You're not ready for this life, my guy.
I went to a casino and I seen a one. It was beautiful though. And but my friend my companion,
your life partner,
my soul companion, and we were walking through. And I seen the lady, I seen it on her neck. She seen me. She was like, I love you. I was like, I love you too. And he just was like, yo, that is so dope that y'all do that. And I was like, because it happens. Most of the time when I see people, we literally just start cheesing at each other.
Yep.
And he loves it. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is. That is some dope ass shit. So where my boldness comes out at is when I do see another vitiligo, I'm like, sis, come on, let's take a picture. Like, and I'll snap. I don't care. I have no makeup. I might have on 2 different color socks, no bra. Like, listen, it's me and you out here.
I may have accosted a person or 2 in my day. Like, hey, don't you want to talk and take this picture? Like, I got a few where it's just like literally.
I don't care.
We just start talking like we've known each other, like in the conversation, just to know, like, you don't even got to say, like, did you know when they be like, yeah, like, you don't even got to finish the sentence. I love that. I love it.
So I just wanted to, again, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on tonight. This has been the littiest
this was
vibe ever.
Like, we in Panama, baby.
I'm ready. Listen, all my ladies on here, we ready. I just want to thank you so much for coming on tonight and giving us a lot of your energy and your good vibes and your boldness and your bravery. Nah, man, like, this is for you and for everybody who's on here tonight. Anything you want to say to those who are listening tonight and those who are going to just skim past our page and happen to click on this interview? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to say?
Live. My last words are live. Don't just exist. Don't just go through life. Don't just pass through life. Don't just work a job. Don't just find your passion. Okay, I've had like 4. I've had a cooking passion, sports passion, video game passion, anime passion. I cosplay. I have all. I'm a passionate person, and it literally. I couldn't imagine just not. I couldn't imagine being ordinary or mundane. I couldn't imagine it. Listen. Be extraordinary. Everybody's here.
But because you already are.
Extraordinary.
You already are extraordinary. Just be.
Just be it. You are that. Be it. That's it. Just be it. And please visit littylego.org and littylego.com. Okay? Yes, we got cute stuff. We got free stuff. We got a whole giveaway going on right now. Go on.
Yeah.
Okay? I love giving stuff away. Please. All y'all got to do to the website. That's it. Come on in.
I love it. I love you, sis.
I love you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. This was super lit. I love it. Vitiligo for life.